Former Army Chief General Naravane sent across a very clear message on all those who are warmongering at this point, saying it's no Bollywood film, it's not a romantic Bollywood movie. And so the former Army Chief has sent across a very important message at these times, saying diplomacy is always the first choice, not war. All those who've been criticizing the ceasefire that's been called, saying India's bowed down and whatnot, hear this message from the army, from the former Army Chief, when he says clearly diplomacy is always the first choice, not war. War isn't some romantic Bollywood movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, war is not romantic. It is not your Bollywood movie. It is very serious business. And war or violence should be the last thing that we should resort to. Again, people are asking that why did we not go for all-out war? But as a military man, if ordered, I will go to war. But that will not be my first choice. My first choice will always be diplomacy.
Okay, I'll bring in Shivani Sharma for more on that. Shivani, such an important message from the general there. A basic one, you would think, an uncomplicated message that diplomacy is always the first choice, not war. And yet it needs to be said right now, because there are so many who are saying, why didn't we, continue to escalate?
See, India has always believed that there should be no war and no harm of the civilians in any kind of military operations, and that's why we always choose diplomacy, and that's why General Naravane has also reiterated the former Army Chief. And remember, former Army Chief General Naravane was the Army Chief when India witnessed a crucial phase of Galwan clashes in the eastern Ladakh sector and multiple developments after that. And India had been resorted in dialogues only even after escalated tensions with China. So these suggestions and the choice of India to stick to dialogue and to diplomacy has always been the first choice. But in case of Pakistan, this diplomacy has always been harmed by a mistrust factor by Pakistan, which has been associated with terrorists and sending terrorists inside Indian boundaries. So this time, India has chosen the diplomacy, but in a very different and a retaliatory manner, to inflict damages to the terror camps inside Pakistan. But after which, Pakistan chose to harm the civilians and attack India. And that's why then India had to, yesterday's briefing also, the DGMOs said very clearly that we had no other option left. We never wanted this kind of escalation, but we were forced to take this kind of action when our patience was being tested and the civilians were being harmed, not only on the airspace, but also on the line of control. So Akshita, the former Army Chief General Naravane is once again reiterating that diplomacy is India's choice, but we always are ready to defend our civilians.
Okay, Shivani, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Important message that's coming from the former Army Chief, where he's highlighted that diplomacy is always the first choice, not war.